I would never own a bond in my life. People say stocks are risky. Bonds are so much riskier than stocks, okay? First of all, again, you buy a bond today, you get, let's just take an example. You buy a bond, it's got a 10-year maturity, and you get a 5% return on that. You're going to get 5% return on that every year till it matures. By the way, you can't buy a 10% bond, a 10-year bond with a 5% yield, but we're just using this for an example, okay? You buy, for instance, a stock that's a dividend aristocrat, okay? Right now you're earning maybe a 3-4% rate of return, but every year that income goes up because they raise the dividend at a rate much faster, in almost every case, much faster than the rate of inflation. So your money and your income is growing faster than the rate of inflation. Plus, rates are so low right now that eventually, somewhere along the line, they will go back up. And if you own bonds, the value of those bonds will plunge as interest rates go up. It's a seesaw thing. When rates go up, the value of a bond goes down. When rates go down, the value of a bond goes up. So the only, I'm not, again, I don't say don't buy bonds. If you want to buy bonds, go ahead and buy bonds. But buy shorter maturity bonds. And probably what I would suggest you do, and it's sort of like what Warren Buffett said in his note here. He said, put 10% of cash in short-term government bonds. So you can buy short-term bond mutual funds. And that way you don't have to worry about, it maturing and stuff like that. It will be kept very, very current. So yeah, bonds are scary stuff for me. Basically, there are two types of mutual funds. The traditional Fidelity, Vanguard mutual fund, which is those are referred to as an open-ended fund. Every day when you put more money in and other people put money in, they just create more shares of the mutual fund. It's just constantly growing or shrinking type of mutual fund. An exchange-traded fund is a fixed number of shares of that mutual fund, and they are, as the name implies, an exchange-traded fund. You would buy them on an exchange just like you would buy shares of Coca-Cola or you would buy shares of IBM. You buy it on an exchange, which means you can buy and sell it throughout the day if you were so inclined. Where with the open-ended mutual funds, they are priced just once a day at the end of the day. Okay, so if you put an order in to sell that mutual fund, you get whatever the price is at the end of the day. Exchange-traded mutual funds have become very popular. I'm not quite sure why, although I actually do know why, but I'm not going to go into it. They're fine if you feel the need to be moving in and out of the market. If you want to, let's say you want to buy, you got a hot tip that the market's going to go up, and so you buy an S&P 500 exchange-traded fund, and it goes up, and you can sell it an hour later if you want to. They're actively traded, exchange, as the name implies. Neither one is better. If you buy an S&P 500 fund from Vanguard through their open-ended fund, or you buy the Vanguard S&P 500 index fund through an exchange fund, they're exactly the same. They're exactly the same. I've never really personally seen the need to own an exchange-traded fund.